What if the secret to reversing a flat or sagging backside after 50 isn't more squats, but something fundamental no one tells you about your body's foundation? If you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered why your glutes seem to be losing their shape, even if you stay active, you're certainly not alone. For many adults over 50, the glutes begin to flatten, especially on the sides and upper region. What used to be a round, lifted backside can slowly create what some call hip dips, sagging, or even a concave look in jeans. Most people attribute this to aging, or they think the fix is simple, just do more glute exercises. But here's the crucial truth. You cannot effectively rebuild your glutes if your pelvis is out of optimal position. This is because your glutes, particularly the gluteus medius, the side glute muscle responsible for that coveted fullness, cannot activate properly when your pelvic alignment is off. If your pelvis is tilted or rotated, which happens easily with age and prolonged sitting, it essentially shuts off the glute's ability to fire. So, no matter how many squats or bridges you perform, the desired shape simply won't return until you address the very foundation, pelvic control. In this video, you'll discover two simple, science-backed movements specifically designed for adults over 50. The first movement resets your pelvic alignment, and the second builds strength and fullness in the correct glute muscles, fixing flatness from the inside out. Many believe their glutes are flat because they haven't done enough squats or have stopped working out. However, even if you exercise regularly, your glutes won't activate properly if your pelvis isn't aligned. Let's delve into why. Your pelvis serves as the foundation of your lower body, acting as the control center for how your hips, spine, and glutes move. When it's positioned well, your glute muscles can fire, grow, and stabilize effectively. But if it tilts too far forward, shifts to one side, or rotates slightly, all very common occurrences after age 50, it disrupts the vital neuromuscular connection between your brain and your glutes. This misalignment is often subtle. You might not even feel off, yet it forces other muscles, like your lower back or thighs, to compensate and take over the work. This leaves the glutes underused, underdeveloped, and eventually effectively switched off. This explains why you can walk daily, do bridges, or even strength train, and still notice that your backside looks flat, especially on the sides, because the muscle isn't positioned correctly to engage. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that pelvic alignment directly affects gluteal muscle recruitment patterns in individuals with anterior pelvic tilt or lateral asymmetry, a common shift to one side. Glute activation was significantly reduced, even when performing standard glute exercises. Furthermore, a study by the American Council on Exercise (ACE) emphasized that muscles can only strengthen effectively when joints are in optimal alignment. Otherwise, the body defaults to compensations, training the wrong muscles and reinforcing inefficient patterns. This becomes particularly relevant after 50. With age, we tend to sit more, move less, and unconsciously adopt altered postures. Pelvic misalignment becomes increasingly common, especially in women after menopause and men with low core engagement. The result: glutes that not only shrink but also disconnect from effective movement. Therefore, before we can truly build the glutes, we must reconnect them by restoring pelvic control and reawakening the neural signals that prompt these muscles to fire. That's why the first exercise you'll learn next isn't a strength move. It's a retraining movement to align your pelvis and lay the essential foundation for glutes that actually work. Exercise 1. Wall hinge and lateral shift. Before you can build your glutes, you need to realign their foundation. You've probably been told that to fix a flat backside, you need to squeeze your glutes or just do more bridges. But as we've discussed, if your pelvis is out of position, your glutes won't activate properly, no matter how hard you squeeze. That's why we start with this simple but powerful move, the wall hinge with lateral shift. It's not a squat, nor is it merely a stretch. It's a retraining drill designed to help your brain rediscover your glutes, especially those muscles that define the sides of your hips. This movement effectively realigns your pelvis into a neutral, centered position, gently activates both the gluteus maximus, the main glute, and the gluteus medius, the side glute, restores balance between your left and right hips, and creates a stronger foundation for standing, walking, and future glute exercises. Most importantly, it helps reverse the effects of years of sitting, tight hip flexors, a tilted pelvis, and weak glute signals. When you shift your hips side to side in a controlled hinge position, you are recentering your pelvis over your base of support, teaching your core and glutes to co-contract, work together. and waking up underused stabilizer muscles, including the gluteus medius, deep rotators, and obliques. A 2021 study in physical therapy and sport found that low-load, closed-chain pelvic repositioning drills improved gluteal symmetry and recruitment in older adults after just 2 weeks. This exercise isn't about feeling the burn. It's about reconnecting your movement map so the right muscles can actually fire when you need them. Here are the step-by-step instructions. Stand about 15 to 20 centimeters in front of a wall, facing away from it. Place your feet shoulder-width apart, with toes slightly turned inward to help open the back of the hips. Keep your knees soft, not locked, and your arms relaxed. Gently place your hands on your hips. Begin a hip hinge by pushing your hips back until your glutes lightly tap the wall. Your torso will lean slightly forward, but maintain a long, straight spine. In this hinged position, shift your hips slightly to the left. You should feel your right glute begin to engage. Shift back to the center, then shift slightly to the right, feeling the left glute activate. Return to center, then slowly stand back up. That completes 1 repetition. Aim for 8 to 10 slow, controlled repetitions, rest, then complete 2 sets in total. Coaching tips. Think of the movement as gently rocking your pelvis side to side, rather than twisting your torso. Keep your weight balanced evenly in both feet. Move slowly and with control. Precision is more important than speed. If balance is a challenge, lightly rest your fingers on a countertop or a sturdy chair in front of you for support. This movement is particularly important after 50 because your pelvis tends to become less mobile and more tilted with age, especially with a sedentary lifestyle. This leads to compensatory patterns where your back works harder, your hips become stiff, and your glutes effectively shut down. This drill unlocks that system, brings your hips back into proper alignment, and reminds your glutes of their intended function. While it may feel like a small movement, its impact is significant. It makes the crucial difference between training your glutes in the correct position and wasting time reinforcing poor posture. Once your pelvis is centered and your glutes are firing again, you're at to a more dynamic strength-building movement. And that's what we'll cover next. Exercise 2. Wall-facing squat and calf raise. Now that your pelvis is aligned, it's time to build strength and shape where it counts most. You've reconnected with your glutes, and you've brought your pelvis back into a neutral, functional position. Now it's time to build shape, fullness, and control, especially in the gluteus medius, the side glute muscle most responsible for making your backside look rounded, not flat. That's where this second move comes in, the wall-facing squat with calf raise. This isn't a typical gym squat, it's a posture-correcting, glute-shaping, balance-building movement that works with your body, not against it. This movement targets the gluteus medius more deeply than traditional squats, builds strength simultaneously in your calves, hips, and core, reinforces upright posture and pelvic control, and significantly improves balance, coordination, and functional leg strength. Squatting while facing a wall forces you to maintain a tall spine, preventing any forward collapse. Keep your knees aligned with your hips rather than caving inward, and effectively load the posterior chain, specifically the glutes, especially the glute medius and the calves. Adding a calf raise at the bottom further challenges the stabilizing muscles, enhancing balance and improving functional movement patterns. A 2022 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that integrated lower body movements with balance components improved both muscle tone and fall resilience in adults over 60, particularly when performed without external weights. In simple terms, this move teaches your glutes to work effectively in real-life situations, where strength and balance are intertwined. Here are the step-by-step instructions. Stand facing a wall about 15 to 20 centimeters away. Position your feet slightly wider than your hips, with your toes angled out approximately 10 to 15 degrees. Place both hands lightly on the wall at shoulder height for support. Begin to lower into a squat, keeping your chest up and your knees tracking directly over your toes. Go as low as feels comfortable for you, ideally reaching a thigh angle of 45 to 60 degrees, not necessarily fully parallel to the floor. At the bottom of the squat, rise onto your toes, lifting both heels, which engages your calves and glutes. Hold this position for 1 to 2 seconds at the peak of the heel raise. Slowly lower your heels, then press through your feet to return to a standing position. Perform 10 to 12 controlled repetitions, rest, and repeat for 2 to 3 sets. Coaching tips. Stay tall. Ensure your face or knees do not touch the wall. Keep your knees slightly pushed outward, as this specifically activates the gluteus medius. Move slowly, Control is paramount, more so than depth or speed. For an added challenge, you can hold the bottom position for a longer duration. This exercise is especially beneficial after 50 because it builds real-world leg strength, essential for walking, standing up, and stabilizing yourself when off balance. It teaches your brain to fire the correct muscles in the proper sequence. Glutes first, not your knees or lower back. It directly addresses the root causes of hip dips by filling out the sides of the glutes through direct engagement of the gluteus medius. This movement is particularly powerful when performed after the wall hinge and lateral shift, because your pelvis is now aligned and your glutes are fully accessible. Together, these two movements form a complete system. They restore alignment, rebuild strength and shape, and reinforce balance and function. And you don't need weights, specialized equipment, or a gym to achieve these results. So here's the truth no one told us when we were younger. You don't just lose your glutes because you age. You lose them because your body adapts to inactivity and misalignment, quietly, slowly, and predictably. But now you know better. You've learned that fixing flat glutes isn't about doing more repetitions or chasing soreness. It starts with reclaiming your foundation, your pelvis, your posture, your mind-muscle connection. Once that's in place, everything changes. Movements feel smoother, your stance feels stronger, and yes, your backside starts to look fuller, rounder, more alive again. But beyond the mirror, what you're truly building is freedom. Freedom to move without pain, freedom to walk, lift, climb, and catch yourself when balance is lost, and ultimately, freedom to trust your body again. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need fancy equipment. You just need intention, consistency, and a willingness to start small. So if you've been frustrated with a flat or sagging backside, even if you've tried everything, take this as your powerful reminder. It's not too late, and it's not your fault. You just haven't been shown the right path until now. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these two movements are you most curious to try? Or perhaps you've already felt the impact of changing your pelvic alignment. If so, tell us what changed for you. Drop a comment below with your name, age, and location. Let's build a supportive, smart, and strong community of people over 50 who aren't settling for decline here on Ageless Strength. If this video helped you, please send it to someone you care about, because stronger glutes aren't just about looks, they're about living fully.